Hello, everyone. An empire worth millions of dollars, a missing will, and a family torn apart by greed. Gene Hackman's children, who were supposed to stand by each other, are now embroiled in a ruthless battle. Who truly deserves the inheritance? Who is hiding something? Did someone in the family push him to this end? Money can buy everything, including silence and perhaps even death. Are you ready to follow us as we uncover Gene Hackman's will? If you want to know, leave a comment with the number 1 to follow the video. Hollywood has produced countless stars, but there is only one Gene Hackman. For over 50 years, he was not only a talented actor, but also a living icon of American cinema, a strong man who took on complex roles with a sharp gaze and commanding voice. From The French Connection to Unforgiven, Gene Hackman didn't just act. He made everyone believe in every character he portrayed. But like any legend, Hackman chose a mysterious exit, leaving behind a vast fortune and a series of unanswered questions. Unlike many other stars, Hackman didn't cling to the spotlight as he aged. In 2004, he left Hollywood without any farewells, saying in a rare interview, "Acting is no longer my life." While his contemporaries continued to appear on screen, Hackman sought a peaceful retreat in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where he lived with his second wife, Betsy Arakawa, a former pianist whom Hackman deeply loved. They lived a simple life, away from the limelight, spending time writing books, cycling along country roads, and enjoying their final years. No one knows exactly what Hackman thought of his glorious past. He didn't return to accept honorary awards or participate in formal gatherings. A legend quietly stepped off the stage, yet his presence still looms large over Hollywood. Hackman wasn't just an actor, he was also a writer. After leaving the film industry, he released several novels, mostly in the genres of crime and historical fiction. While these books didn't receive the same admiration as his acting career, they served as a testament to his sharp intellect. However, it's important to note that despite stepping away from the glamorous world of Hollywood, Hackman never truly escaped the spotlight. Both Hackman and Betsy Arakawa appeared to be in good health despite their advanced age. He continued cycling regularly, enjoying the fresh air. So when news of their death spread, the world was shocked. What was particularly puzzling was that they passed away under mysterious circumstances, just a short time apart. There were no signs of foul play, no last words, and no one knew exactly what had happened during their final days. Medical investigation reports revealed that Hackman had severe Alzheimer's disease, which completely contradicted what he had publicly disclosed. Additionally, the autopsy showed that Hackman had a serious history of heart disease, including a previous heart attack, which he had kept secret from everyone. If his health was that deteriorated, why did his family remain unaware? As for Betsy Arakawa, she was said to have died from a rare illness transmitted by rodents, a strange coincidence that seemed almost too unbelievable. Hollywood is no stranger to mysterious death stories, but could this be one of them? The public and media quickly started generating various theories. Some suggested it was just a sad irony, but many others began to question whether Hackman and his wife knew something that someone else wanted to keep hidden. In addition to the mysteries surrounding the deaths of Hackman and Arakawa, another issue quickly captured the public's attention. Who would inherit his massive fortune? According to several sources, Hackman had an estimated net worth of around $80 million, including real estate, investments, and profits from his films. Notably, Hackman's relationship with his children in his later years was not very good. He had little contact with some family members, raising questions about whether they were included in his will. According to publicly available legal documents, Hackman did not leave behind a detailed will, or if he did, its contents have not yet been disclosed. This led to a quiet but intense dispute within the family. A family member who wished to remain anonymous revealed to the press, "No one really knows what Hackman left behind. But it's clear that not everyone is happy with how the estate is being divided. Hackman's adult children from his first marriage believe they are entitled to a large portion of their father's wealth, but Deci Arakawa, Hackman's second wife, who cared for him for many years, may have left behind a separate will or even had control over much of the estate before her death." The dispute isn't just about money, it also involves Hackman's art collection, film rights, and personal memorabilia. Some of his personal letters, movie scripts, and even vintage cars are said to be worth millions of dollars. The conflict isn't limited to the family either. Several of Hackman's former collaborators in the film industry have also begun to voice their claims, asserting that they have rights to some of his assets. Several lawsuits have already been filed, and lawyers are closely monitoring every development in this ongoing dispute. No matter how long the inheritance battle drags on, one thing remains undeniable. Gene Hackman was a legend. He left behind not just iconic films, but also a legacy that will never fade. But is this the end of his story, or are there still hidden secrets in Hackman's life? A legend may depart, but the questions about him will forever remain. Gene Hackman not only left a deep impression through his outstanding performances, but also amassed a massive fortune, estimated at around $80 million. However, few know that beneath his simple appearance and quiet life, Hackman had accumulated and managed his wealth in a sophisticated and mysterious way. One of Hackman's most notable assets is his $3.8 million mansion in Santa Fe, New Mexico, built in the traditional Pueblo architectural style. This home reflects a harmonious blend of nature and artistry. Hackman and his wife, Deci Arakawa, moved here in the 1980s, seeking a peaceful place far from the hustle and bustle of Hollywood. The over 8,000-square-foot mansion includes multiple bedrooms, a spacious living room, and an office where Hackman frequently wrote books after his retirement. The surrounding grounds are covered with the distinctive desert landscape of New Mexico, offering a sense of tranquility and serenity. In an interview, Hackman once shared that he greatly appreciated the simplicity and natural beauty of the land, where he could escape the stress of Hollywood. In addition to the Santa Fe mansion, Hackman also owned several other valuable real estate properties. He had previously owned a home in Montecito, California, a renowned area known for its wealthy residents and breathtaking views. This house was sold in 2012 for approximately $25 million, which significantly contributed to his fortune. Additionally, Hackman had investments in various other fields. Gene Hackman, the Hollywood legend with a career spanning over 6 decades, left behind an estate valued at approximately $80 million after his death alongside his wife, Deci Arakawa. The sudden passing of both not only saddened fans, but also raised an important question. Who will inherit Hackman's massive fortune? If Hackman had left behind a clear will, things might have been simpler, but with initial reports suggesting no specific legal documents were made public, family disputes now seem inevitable. The long simmering tensions within the Hackman family may now escalate into a prolonged legal battle. Gene Hackman had 3 children from his first marriage to Faye Maltz: Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie. Although he kept his private life under wraps, those close to him revealed that his relationship with his children in his later years was far from harmonious. As an A-list star with a busy schedule, Hackman rarely spent time with his children when they were young. He was always strict and seldom expressed affection, which led his children to feel neglected and lacking the attention of their famous father. Christopher, the eldest son, shared in a rare interview, "Growing up with a legendary father was both a privilege and a challenge. We admired him, but we also longed for his presence." Elizabeth and Leslie felt similarly. Although they loved their father, they didn't have many fond memories with him. All 3 siblings felt that their relationship with their father was one-sided, respectful but not truly close. The emotional wounds from the past, never fully healed, may now become a source of tension, potentially sparking a bitter legal battle over his estate. Normally, for wealthy and famous individuals like Gene Hackman, creating a will or trust to manage their assets after death is crucial. If Hackman had a specific will, it would clearly outline who would receive what and under what conditions. However, the issue is that there is no official information regarding whether he left behind a will. This leaves his entire estate in a situation of intestacy, meaning that the assets will be divided according to inheritance laws. If Hackman did not leave a will according to the law, his assets would be divided as follows. His biological children would have the right to inherit his estate, while his wife, Betsy Arakawa, if still alive, would be entitled to a significant portion of the estate under inheritance laws. However, since Betsy passed away at the same time as Hackman, this complicates the issue. If Betsy had a separate will, her estate could be distributed according to her wishes, potentially causing further disputes between Hackman's family and Betsy's family. Currently, the family's lawyers are reviewing the asset records and related documents to determine inheritance rights. However, one thing is clear: there will be no simple solution. Betsy Arakawa was Hackman's second wife, and they had been together for over 30 years, with their marriage considered to be a happy one. However, the relationship between Betsy and Hackman's children was not smooth. A close source revealed that Betsy had tried to mend the relationship between Gene and his children, but it was still not enough. There has always been underlying tension within the family. Betsy was an intelligent woman, skilled in financial management, and had a significant influence on Hackman. If she were still alive, she would likely be the one Hackman trusted to manage most of his assets. However, the sudden deaths of both Hackman and Betsy have complicated matters more than ever. Betsy's family could also claim a portion of the estate if she did not leave a will of her own, creating a complex situation where Hackman's family may have to face off against Betsy's family in a battle over inheritance rights. In addition to family members, some third parties could also claim a share of Hackman's estate. Among them are former business partners. Some people who worked with Hackman in the film industry may assert that they have a right to assets from unfinished joint projects. Charitable organizations that Hackman contributed to throughout his life could also become part of the dispute if he left a will designating them as beneficiaries. Close friends and associates of Hackman might provide evidence that he intended to share part of his fortune with them. Claims from third parties could complicate the dispute further and prolong the process of distributing his estate. This inheritance battle is not just a financial issue, but also deeply damaging to the family's emotional well-being. If Hackman's children cannot reach an agreement, they may end up suing each other in a prolonged legal battle. The relationship between Hackman's family and Betsy's family could be severely fractured if the two sides cannot agree on how to divide the estate. Hackman's reputation could also be affected, as celebrity inheritance disputes often become tabloid fodder. A close family friend shared, "It's heartbreaking to see a family torn apart over material possessions." The greatest legacy Gene Hackman left behind is not just his material wealth, but the artistic and spiritual values he contributed to the world of cinema. However, his inheritance battle serves as a reminder of the importance of careful financial planning. Without a proper resolution, Hackman's family could face a long, tense, and contentious legal battle. Whether the involved parties can find common ground and honor Hackman's legacy, or whether they will allow the conflicts to further divide the family, remains a significant question. With the passing of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa just 7 days apart, their inheritance issue is far from a straightforward division of assets. The inheritance laws in New Mexico, where Hackman and Arakawa lived, have strict regulations regarding the order of inheritance when there is no clear will. The legal complexities include the fact that Hackman passed away after his wife, which could change the entire distribution of assets under inheritance laws. How will New Mexico's inheritance laws handle the situation when neither of them is alive to inherit each other's assets? Hackman may have had Alzheimer's in his later years. Could this affect the legality of his will? If a new will was made recently, could it be challenged on the grounds of its validity? New Mexico has clear regulations regarding inheritance when there is no will, under the laws of intestate succession. If Hackman did not leave a will, or if his will is challenged, state law will determine how the assets are divided. According to inheritance laws in New Mexico, if someone passes away without a will and has a spouse and children, the spouse will receive all joint property and 1/4 of the deceased's separate property. The children will share the remaining separate property equally. If there is no surviving spouse, the entire estate will be divided equally among the children. If there is no spouse and no children, the assets will go to the deceased's parents, if they are alive, and if the parents have passed, the estate will be divided among the deceased's siblings. Since Betsy Arakawa passed away 7 days before Hackman, she will no longer have the right to inherit his assets. Hackman's entire estate will be transferred to his children, Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie. If Betsy had a separate will, her assets would be distributed according to her will. However, if neither of them left a will, Betsy's estate could be subject to intestate succession, and her assets would be divided according to New Mexico's inheritance laws. New Mexico has a survivorship period rule, which requires a person to live for at least 120 hours, 5 days, after the death of another in order to inherit their assets. Since Hackman survived Betsy by 7 days, he still has the right to inherit her estate under the law. However, because Hackman passed away shortly afterward, his estate could not be managed by him and will be divided according to the law. This creates a complex situation where both Hackman and Betsy's estates will have to be distributed almost simultaneously. If Hackman did not have a will, his assets will be divided among his children. However, if Betsy had a separate will, her heirs may claim their share, leading to a potential legal battle between the Hackman and Arakawa families. An important factor that could impact the inheritance case is Hackman's health in his final years. Some close sources suggest that Hackman may have experienced cognitive decline due to aging, with possible signs of Alzheimer's disease. If Hackman did indeed suffer from Alzheimer's or severe memory loss, any will created during this period could be challenged in terms of its legality. A party might argue that Hackman lacked the legal capacity to create a valid will and request the court to review the validity of that will. If the will is found to be invalid, Hackman's estate would be distributed according to New Mexico's intestate succession laws, with his children receiving the entire estate. There are rumors that Hackman updated his will shortly before his death. If this is true, the biggest question is whether the new will is legally valid. Reasons a new will could be challenged include whether Hackman was influenced by others when creating the will. If there is evidence that he was coerced or manipulated by a close individual, the will could be declared invalid. Another factor to consider is whether the will was created according to legal requirements. New Mexico requires that a will must be signed by the testator and two witnesses who have no personal interest in the will. Could Betsy Arakawa have had influence over the will if it favored her family more than Hackman's children? Hackman's children may potentially file a lawsuit to claim their inheritance rights. With all these complex legal factors, the division of Hackman's estate will likely be far from straightforward. If Hackman did not leave a will, his estate would be divided among his children. If there is a new will, it will need to be thoroughly examined and could lead to legal disputes. If Betsy's family intervenes, the case could turn into a prolonged legal battle. Will the law favor one side? Possibly. But this inheritance dispute will undoubtedly become a fierce battle between the parties involved. The consecutive deaths of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa within 7 days have raised many important questions. Although the cause of death is officially recorded as natural, some strange details have prevented the police from closing the case. Why are investigators keeping the case open? Is there something that hasn't been revealed? And specifically, why has the death of Zena, the couple's loyal dog, become an important part of the investigation? From the outside, Hackman and Arakawa's life seemed very peaceful. The couple lived quietly in their later years on a tranquil ranch in New Mexico, but it was precisely this tranquility that raised suspicions when they both passed away suddenly, just 7 days apart. There are still unclear details. Hackman had no significant history of serious illness, so why did he die so quickly after the death of his wife? Are there signs that suggest the couple might have been poisoned or influenced by external factors? Betsy Arakawa passed away first, but is there something about her death that could be related to Hackman's? One noteworthy point is that, according to some inside sources, investigators have gathered some unpublicized evidence, including toxicology samples from both bodies. The results of these tests have not yet been released. Why haven't the police closed the case? Normally, if an elderly person passes away from natural causes, the police would quickly close the case. However, the case of Hackman and Arakawa is completely different. The FBI and local law enforcement are continuing the investigation for several suspicious reasons, with signs that prevent them from closing the case too quickly. Did Hackman make any important changes in his final days? According to some sources, Hackman made an unusual phone call the night before he passed away. The content of this call has not been disclosed, but it could be an important clue leading to the decision to expand the police investigation. Are there any irregularities in the financial records? Bank documents show that several large transactions occurred just before both of their deaths. Who made these transactions? Could Hackman have been defrauded or coerced into signing important documents? Another notable detail is the strange theft that took place just before their deaths. A few weeks before Betsy passed away, a burglary occurred at their farm. Although nothing obvious was stolen, it seems like someone had rifled through their personal documents. Could this theft be related to their deaths? One of the crucial clues in this case is the mobile phones of Hackman and Betsy. The police have reviewed the call history, text messages, and GPS data in search of suspicious signs. The mysterious call before Hackman's death. Just one day before passing away, Hackman made a call that lasted nearly 20 minutes to an unknown phone number. The recipient of this call has not been identified, but according to the recorded data, Hackman appeared anxious and fearful. What caused him to be so worried? Did he uncover something before his death? Betsy's unsent message. In Betsy's phone, the police discovered an unsent message. The content of the message seemed to indicate that she was about to share an important secret with someone, but she passed away before she could send it. Who was the recipient of this message, and what secret was Betsy about to reveal? The mysterious death of Xena, their dog. There is a lesser-known but extremely important detail. Xena, their dog, also died mysteriously shortly after Betsy passed away. What's noteworthy is that Xena was a healthy dog, with no serious illness. A veterinary examination revealed signs of poisoning, but the exact method of poisoning remains unclear. If someone poisoned Xena, could this be a sign of a sophisticated assassination attempt targeted at Hackman and Betsy? Why is this a crucial clue? If someone had poisoned Xena, it's likely they tested the poisoning method before targeting Hackman and Betsy. This raises a big question. Could this not have been a natural death, but rather a planned murder? Although authorities have not officially released information, it is clear that there are many unusual factors surrounding the deaths of Hackman and Betsy Arakawa. Unanswered questions include: were they poisoned? Who did Hackman call before he passed away? What was Betsy planning to reveal in the unsent message? Why was Xena poisoned right after Betsy's death? With all of these elements, the police cannot rush to close the case. While on the surface this may appear to be a natural death of an elderly couple, many clues suggest there could be a much more complex story behind it. After the consecutive deaths of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa, a major question arises. Who will be the rightful heir to the vast fortune that Hackman left behind? Inheritance disputes are often complicated, and this case is no exception. With an estimated estate worth between $80 to $100 million, it's certain that many individuals or organizations will want to claim their share. Will Gene Hackman's legacy endure and withstand the test of time, or will it become entangled in an endless legal battle? If Hackman has a valid will, the will specify his legal heirs. One possibility is that Betsy Arakawa could be the primary heir. However, Since she passed away before the estate was transferred, the question arises as to whether Hackman updated his will after her death. If the will was not updated, the estate will be distributed according to New Mexico's inheritance laws, leading to the scenarios outlined below. If Hackman did not leave a clear will, or if his will is declared invalid, the estate will be divided according to New Mexico's inheritance laws. In this case, because Betsy Arakawa passed away first, her estate will not automatically be transferred to her. Hackman's children will be the primary heirs. Gene Hackman's estate is large enough to spark disputes. While the court will make the final decision, there will likely be multiple legal battles before the estate is actually divided. If there is a clear will, the process could be simpler. Otherwise, it could turn into a complex lawsuit that lasts for years. Finally, the question is not only about who will inherit the estate, but whether Hackman's legacy will be protected or caught up in an endless cycle of litigation. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on more interesting stories. See you in the next videos!